right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutations, much respect and love to you brothers out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. All right? Shalom, I'm a Hebrew Israelite here to prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom, to speak about the upliftment of God's chosen people, which are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, according to the Bible. All right? And the Most High is coming back, they're sending back his son to deliver you from this present condition that you're in, man. All right? That was put upon you from your enemies. Okay? The first thing I want to get let's get Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15, and it reads, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy power, to observe to do all these commandments and these statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee," man. All right? So what you're seeing right now as a result of so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans disobeying the laws of the Most High, he sent your enemies over you, man. Okay? He sent your enemies to destroy you, to put you in captivity. Okay? But he's about to deliver you from that. Just like he delivered us in Egypt, he's going to deliver us from this captivity. You see, Egypt was going good for, 400 years, 400 plus years, they were doing good. But then, once the Most High sent Moses to put those plagues, all right, through his power, that's when Egypt started to go down, man. All right? And that's the same thing that's going to happen right now in this day and age, man. All right? Now, today, the present pharaohs are who? The so-called, the Rothschilds, all you, the elites of you so-called white people. They would be the pharaohs, man, of today. All right? And Moses is coming in instead of all the elect, okay? 144,000. Let's get Revelations 11 and 8. Okay, to prove that there's another Egypt, man. All right? Because when it speaks about you going into captivity again in ships to Egypt, it's not speaking about ancient Egypt. All right? Because the Israelites never went into captivity again in ancient Egypt, man. That's speaking about the present-day Egypt, all right? Which would be known as America. And it's also known as Babylon the Great. It's also known as Basra, okay? Sodom. This is Revelations 11 and verse 8, and it reads, "And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of that great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified." All right? So it's called Sodom because of what? Because all the homosexuality, the transgenderism, all this freakism that's promoted in America, man. All right? Bestiality is legal in about 10 states. You see? So America is Sodom and Gomorrah for that reason. All right? The reason it's Egypt is because it has, first of all, it has a lot of the monuments, all right? Even the flag, when you go into the flag, it's the same colors that Egypt, the elites of Egypt used to represent, all right? So it proves that America is spiritually Egypt as well. And the main point is that it had the Israelites in captivity, man, all right? You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man, all right? So that's another way how it's Egypt. So let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 68, okay? Because clearly it said spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. It didn't say it was physically Sodom and Egypt, you see? It's not that, it wasn't, ancient Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, obviously, all right? Let's get Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, and it reads, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again." All right? So the Most High brought the Israelites in slavery in ships, all right? Which was unique to any other slavery. That's why it was mentioned, man. Okay? The transatlantic slave trade was unprecedented, man. You see? Because that was taking a whole boat of people, right? Like millions of people coming from the First of all, the first slaves came from Portugal and Spain, and then the west coast of Africa. You see? So that was unprecedented. So let me read that again. It says, this is Deuteronomy 28:68. You seen this before, man? You heard about the Israelites?
I don't speak anglais. Je parle pas anglais.
Tu parles juste français?
Oui.
Ok, ça c'est d'où les Israélites. Les Israélites de la Bible, man. Les personnes que tu vois sur cette côté sont les Israélites, les vrais Israélites. Ok, les Noirs, les Amérindiens, les Hispaniques, les Espagnols sont tous les vrais Israélites. Et Dieu va venir sauver, juste comme il avait fait à l'Égypte. Maintenant, il va venir pour sauver de cette captivité ici. Ok? So c'est ça. All right? Yeah, man. All right, so this is Deuteronomy 28:68, and it reads, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships."
By the way,
Hein?
Y a-t-il beaucoup de sortes de lions? Genre, le lion d'un pays à l'autre sont toujours le même?
Yeah, they all look similar. Oui, les regards tout le même. Mais, yeah, ça c'est pas important. Ça c'est pas important. Les mots sont importants, pas le lion. Tu vois?
Ouais, c'est bon.
Yeah, man. All right, so this is Deuteronomy 28:68 again. It says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." Okay? So when it says no man shall buy you, it means no man shall deliver you, man. The Lord said that he's not coming back as a man, man. He's coming back as a power, as an angelic force. You see? With great power. You see, when you read 2nd Ezra, it speaks about the great power that our Lord's going to come back with, man. All right? He's going to crack the skies in the midst of World War III. All right? And he's going to destroy all those other armies by himself. Okay? So that shows you that the power that the Most High is sending his son back with, man. Okay? So when it says, "You shall be sold unto your enemies," which enemies was that talking to, man? What was it talking about? It was talking about the transatlantic slave trade, man. All right? So these Edomites that had you in slavery, they're not your friends. They're your enemies, man. Okay? And guess what? They look at you as an enemy. All right? That's why they do what they do to you. That's why they poison the water where majority of you Israelites live, like Flint, Michigan. That was done purposely. It came out. All right? They decided to put the water, that poison in that water. All right? Why didn't they put it in a affluent Edomite community, man? They know what they're doing. You see? So Esau treats you Israelites as an enemy, man. But you Israelites still looking at him like, it's not all. That's your attitude, man. It's not all. Okay? So that gives you the excuse to walk around in bliss, not understanding what your present situation is, man. All right? Let's get Micah 2:10, man. Let's get Micah 2:10. All right, because this, like I just read, man. You Israelites were brought to this side of the earth to serve captivity as a punishment, man. This wasn't for a family vacation, man. All right. Let's get Micah 2:10. This is Micah 2, verse 10. And it reads, "Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. Because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction," man. All right? So this place is gonna destroy you because of the pollution, man. Not only the pollution of the physical pollution, but most importantly, the spiritual pollution, man. You see? These wicked philosophies that our people are adopting, man. Okay, to call it culture. You see? That was given to you by the enemy. And all these things have led to your downfall, man, over the years. When you look at it, man, before, and that's why we speak so badly, right? We speak so negatively about Martin Luther King, man, because he was doing the bidding of the elites. That's why he has a picture with Jacob Rothschild, man. You can't just get a picture with Jacob Rothschild and be at a party with him unless you're plugged in, man. You see? Because he was doing their bidding. trying to get you Israelites to basically give them 100% control of your communities, man. That's what happened. And then after the 60s, the so-called black communities went downhill heavily, all right? That was all by design, man. Because now instead of you controlling your businesses, all right, and controlling your money flow, you have the enemy controlling that. You see? Which is a big problem, and it shows you where, when you look at the 60s, man, right? All the way from before the 60s, all the way to the 2019, right? Black people were more likely to be married than Edomites, than so-called white people. All right, they were less likely to have single-parent households. Going before the 60s, I'm speaking about, right? So when you go after the 60s, what happened, man? That with integration, man, that's what happened. You see? So then what? These Edomites had control over your resources, man, over your businesses, over your communities, man. Okay? And they made sure they set it up perfectly for you to be destroyed. You see? Let's get Psalm 68. And I was just looking at a chart just before I left the crib, all right, that showed that the differences from before the 60s to now, man, when it comes to the marriage and the single parent households, man. It was basically almost non-existent before the 60s, man. You see? This is Psalm 64, Psalm 64. And I'll start at verse 1. Hear my voice, O Most High. In my prayer, preserve my life from fear of the enemy. All right? And that's the key word, the key thing I'm focusing on, man, is the enemy. All right? You Jakes have to look at these people, these Edomites, all right, speaking about these so-called white people and these other nations, but mostly the so-called white people. They're your main enemy. All right? And when you have that idea in your brain and you understand that, you're able to move around society, right? And you're able to flourish, okay? Because you see what's going on. You see all the bones that are out there, man, okay? Like, for example, Planned Parenthood, man, or like abortions. That was given to your community to destroy you, man. Margaret Sanger was the founder of that shit, man. And she was the devil that the Bible speaks of. You see? Her whole life purpose was to destroy you, man. All right? To exterminate. That was her whole life purpose, man. Okay? But you Jakes are going, who's getting the most abortions? You so-called black women, man. Okay? This is verse 2. It says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. Because they have secret counsels about these things, man. All right? You have the Bilderberg meeting that's about to go take place, which is full of the elites, right? I'm speaking about the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Gettys, these people who run the banking industries, okay? They're about to have some discussions that's not going to be for your benefit, man. You see? And it says, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily, all right, which means privately. They say, who shall see them? All right, so everything they do in the dark. Okay? And when we're in the kingdom, in our kingdom, everything's going to be done out in the open, man. There's not going to be anything that we're going to do that's going to be to keep in the secret, to be in secret, man. We're going to do things in the open. All right? Why? Because everything that we're going to be doing is going to be righteous. The reason why they're doing it in the dark is because they know what they're doing is wicked. See? And it says, they search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep, man. All right? So these elites, they don't think like you average people. They think deep. All right? You Jakes are not thinking on the level that they're thinking. They're thinking about population control, man. Destroying a good percentage of the population, man. And who do you think is first to go, man? Huh? This is the way these devils think, man. You have to understand, man. Esau was killing babies for fun, man, when he came on this side of the earth, man. All right? So this is who's ruling the earth right now. All right? So don't marvel at the fact that Esau would do something like that. Of course he would do something like that. All right? He's not what he paints himself to be in these movies. All right? Every movie that Esau is playing in, somehow the so-called white man is so benevolent, he cares about children in the movies. But when you look at his history and his track record, it doesn't show that. All right? It shows nothing but evil. You see? And what they're doing right now. Okay? Let's continue. It says, but the Most High shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And they're doing that now. And that means like those whistleblowers, man, who go into certain things. All right, that they're doing behind closed doors. All right, like that Edomite scientist that came out and said that they purposely put that poison in the water of Flint and these different so-called black and Latino neighborhoods. That they purposely decided to put it there. Okay, just like they purposely decide to build pipelines through Native American land, man. All right, and not their own communities. All right, these Edomites, they know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They're not stupid. All right, you average Israelites are you average so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, you don't use your brain, man. All right, you think everything's a damn joke. All right, when they're looking, they're really waging war against you, man. Okay, and it says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. All right. So in other words, they're going to start to expose themselves to what they're doing now. Let's get what's that? Jeremiah 60, where it speaks about Esau being uncovered, man. This is Obadiah 1 and verse. I'll start at verse 6. It says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are the hidden things sought up? All right? Which shows you what Esau likes to work in secret, man. Okay? And that clearly shows you that it's speaking about this current ruler, man. All right? It's speaking about these Edomites that you see today, these so-called white people. All right? Because everything in this society is done in secret, man. There's so much scandals going on and everything's underhanded. All right? There's all type of conspiracies that's happening. All right? So this fits only the characteristic of Esau, man. The Persians weren't doing that. The Babylonians weren't doing that. Okay? They were doing things in the open for the most part. Just like when we're going to do things in the open. We're not going to do things in secret, man. Okay? Everything's going to be out in the open for people to see, man. Okay? And it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. That they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. All right, speaking about these nations that profit from her. All right, speaking about America mainly, because that's the top nation of Edom. Okay, which is also known as Basra. All right, their so-called allies are going to turn on them. Okay, the so-called American allies are going to turn on them. Okay, and it says, and understanding. Salakia. Let me move up a bit. And prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him, man. All right, because these other nations see what you're doing, man. They're looking at you. They're looking at you sideways, man. Okay. They see all the wickedness that you're doing, man. All right. The way you go and you set up economic hitmans in these other nations, all right, and force them to take loans. And if they don't take it, then guess what? You try to kill off the dictator, man. What you call a dictator, all right? And once you have that accomplished, then you set up a puppet, man, to do what you want, all right? They do that all around the world, every country you see. Okay? This is let's get Habakkuk the 2nd chapter, man. This is Habakkuk 2, and I'll start at verse 4, man. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. And speaking about the Edomites, their soul is not upright. In other words, they're wicked inherently, all right, from their spirit, from their soul, okay? So you trying to change an Edomite, that's a waste of time, man, okay? You marching in the street trying to get the Edomite to change his mind, it's a waste of time, man. All right? It says that his soul, which is in him, is not upright. All right? Which means he's wicked inherently, man. All right? And it says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. And the wine speaking about his philosophies. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. All right, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all peoples. All right, and that's what Esau has done since he came into power, man. He's always done that. Okay, he's always tried to heap to himself all nations, going back to the Greeks, because the Greeks were the first Edomites to have power, man. All right, and there's many civilizations, great civilizations before that, man. All right. But Esau makes it seem like when he came, that was when civilization started, which is complete garbage, man. All right? The Babylonian Empire, they speak about the beauty of the Babylonian Empire, man. All right? That's why when you read Daniel, it's spoken about as the head of gold. All right? That was a beautiful place, man. It wasn't like New York City, man. All right? Or San Francisco with crap all over the floor, man. Okay? The Most High is getting ready to take you devils out of this kingdom anyway, man. All right, you had this kingdom for a little bit, but the Most High is getting ready to take you out of it, man. And it's nothing to look at, man. The only reason you guys have a standing kingdom is because of your army, and that's what you mainly focus on. Okay, speaking about America, because America is the one that's keeping these Edomites afloat, man. If it wasn't for America, Esau could have went down from time. And it says, Salakia, verse 5, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? All right, and that's them speaking to the so-called white people, man. All right, because what is Edomites doing? What are they doing around the world? They're stealing that which is not theirs, man. All right, so all these nations are starting to take up parables now, man. Okay, all of them are starting to point the finger now. You see, and it says, Salakia, verse. Okay, hold up. Yeah, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, speaking about these other nations? All right, and say, woe to him, and woe means destruction. Destruction to him, or death to him, that taketh, that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, which is speaking about thick debt. All right, when you look at the word clay there in the Hebrew, it means debt. All right. So this is speaking about the Edomites, man. All right. Their whole system is based upon debt. Okay. And it says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee? And thou shalt be for booties unto them, because thou hast spoiled many nations. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. You see? And these Edomites know that they spoiled many nations, man. They know what they brag about that shit. You see? They want you to forget about it, but they still commemorate the people who did that shit. You see? For example, they have something called Christopher Columbus Day, man. All right, which is actually promoting and exalting a man who was a murderer, man. All right, and he was murdering women, children, all that shit for fun. All right, but they exalt that. So the Most High is saying, okay, since you did this to many nations, that's what's gonna happen to you and your nation, man. But that's too extreme when it comes to that. Now, when it comes back on them, that's too extreme. You see? Oh, now you're going too far. Okay? But when they were doing it, there was no problem. You see? And it says, verse 9, no, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land, all right, was not this land stolen by violence? Was not this stolen by bloodshed? Okay, are not these graveyards that we're standing on right now? Yes, because of the blood, all right, that was shed from these devils, all right? What's going to happen? It says, for men's blood and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein, woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house. All right, for example, when they came to this land, right, they saw all the great things that was in here, like the gold and the different things that was here. So they coveted that, man. All right, so much so that they murdered them and took that shit. All right, and put them in slavery and all that, man. Okay, that's what they did. All right, that's an example of an evil covetousness, man. All right, and it says that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Because when you're living good, you're delivered from the power of evil. You don't really have any problems. You see, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people. All right, and that's what you're seeing now, man. These Edomites are ashamed now. All right, that's why they don't want to bring up the slavery and these things. They don't want you to talk about it because now it's becoming a shame. All right, back in the day, back when it was happening, or a little bit after, it wasn't a shame for them. All right, they were cool with it. But now that people are starting to point the finger, now it's starting to, you know, and look at what they really did. Now it's you know, it's too shameful. Okay? Let me read that again. And it says, verse 10, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and has sinned against thy soul, man. So they did that to their own destruction, man. All right? Everything, all this, the so-called Negroes that they hung, all right, and the Latinos and Native Americans that they burned and scalped and all that, they did that to their own destruction. All right? Because it's going to come back on them twice as hard. You see? And in their spirit, they know that, man. That's why when they hear this, they kind of cringe inside, man. Because these are the words of the Most High. All right? These are the words of the Heavenly Father, man. You see? And you can clearly see why back in slavery they had something called a slave Bible, man. Which they took out 90% of the Bible, man. All right? Was it 90% of the Old Testament and like 50% of the New? Something like that. Because it speaks too much about their judgment. It speaks too much about, it speaks against them, basically. All right? Which proves they didn't give us the book, man. All right? They really took away from the book and then tried to give us a watered down version that doesn't condemn them. Okay? But as you can see, the Most High preserved the book, man. because it's not in their power to do away with the book, man. All right, they do what the Most High wants them to do, man. Okay. And it says, for the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity. See, so this whole chapter, man, Habakkuk, the second chapter, is speaking against the Edomites, man. All right. So the Edomites are doing all this, man. When did Japhet do this, man? You guys try to say this is the so-called white man Japhet. When did Japhet do all this shit? Never. Okay? Japhet never did that, man. Japhet actually had a pretty short rulership, man. All right? They were in the Medo-Persian rulership, which they were the Medes. So the Medes came first, and then the Persians took over. Okay? So it was like a joint rulership for a period of time. All right? But they never did what I'm reading about, man. They never did that. You see? But Esau did. The so-called white man did this. Okay? When you look at his track record. Okay? So it's clear. It's nothing hard to see, man. As a matter of fact, I'll jump to Genesis 27 chapter, because Japhet never got this blessing. This is Genesis 25. No, it's like Genesis 27. All right? And I'll start at verse. Okay, this is when Esau was coming and begging for a blessing after Jacob stole his blessing. And he said, and Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, man. When you look up the fatness, it means the most fertile lands. Okay? The best of the lands, right? He would have control of that. And Esau, the so-called white man, he has control of all that right now. Japhet never had control of that, ever. Okay? And it says, of the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword, which means your weapons, all right? And shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. All right? So that's going back to the time of King David. All right? When we had these Edomites in captivity. But nonetheless, when it says fatness of the earth, it's speaking about the best parts of the world, man. All right? When Japhet was in power, the only time Japhet was in power, right, written about was the Medes. They were the Medes. Okay? You see? Or if you're saying Esau's Japhet, excuse me, then that means Esau was ruling during the Medo-Persian Empire. That means the Medes were Edomites. And they were so-called white people. That's what you're trying to say. Right? Which is BS, man. Okay? All right? Because now, first of all, Japhet was never prophesied to rule twice, man. Okay? He was never prophesied to rule twice. And furthermore, he was never prophesied to have the fatness of the earth, man. There's only two nations that were promised the fatness of the earth at a certain period of time. And that was us, the nation of Israel, all right, and the Edomites, all right, which we know are the so-called white people. No other nation got that. The Babylonians didn't have that, all right? Which is in modern-day Iran, the modern-day Iran. All right, which is not the most fertile land on the planet, man. It's not the best of the best. Okay? They had control of most of the known world at that time. They didn't even come to this side of the earth yet, man. All right? You see? And it says, by thy sword shall thy live, right? So that ties in with Revelation, the 6th chapter, man. All right? Which has nothing to do with Japhet. Japhet was never given no authority with the sword. Okay, which means the weapons of war. All right. This is Revelation 6 in verse 4, and it reads, "And there went out another horse that was red," which represents the Edomites. Because another thing, the Edomites are prophesied to be red, man. Okay, to look red in complexion, man. That's speaking about the so-called white people, because they're not white, they're red. They're the only nation that looks like that. Every other nation has from a dark brown to a light brown complexion, man. Every nation on the earth, man. All right. So that's if you do a process of elimination, all right, that would be speaking about the Edomites. Okay, and it says, let me read that again. It says, "And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth." Right, and that means Japheth would have to have taken peace from the earth. He didn't do that. You know who did that? The so-called white man did that, man. Esau did that. Okay? Not Japheth. Let's continue. It says, "And shall take peace from the earth," Salakian, "that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword." All right? So the great sword means his weaponry. All right? So Esau is the master of weaponry. The so-called weapon, the only reason he got this side of the earth because of his weaponry, man. Because of the Gatling gun. All right? If he didn't have the Gatling gun, he would have never been able to take down the Native Americans. All right? They were far superior when it came to war, man. All right? When the Native Americans, the reason you have guerrilla warfare, they get that from the Native Americans. They learned that from the Native Americans. All right? Because their war tactics were far superior. Even with the musket gun, they were playing games with them. They couldn't take them down. All right? Gad would be in the bushes, and then he'll hop out, he'll slap him, and run back in the bushes, man. All right? Or he'll kill two people and disappear, and he won't even see him. All right? They were masters at stealth. Okay? So Esau, what he did was he said, listen, we have to get a better weapon, man. All right? So he created the Gatling gun that shoots about whatever, how many bullets at a time, man. All right? And that's what took down Gad. Because Esau is the man that controls the sword. He's the man who was given the great sword, which is speaking about weaponry in general. All right? It's not speaking about an ancient sword alone. It's speaking about weaponry in general. He invented the nuclear missile. Who invented that? The so-called white man. Right? Them German scientists, they split the atom and created the nuclear weapon, man. So he is the master of the sword. All right? So let me read that again. This is Revelation 6 and verse 4. "And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him." So the Most High gave these devils power, man. They think they got it on their own, but it's the Most High who gave it to them for a certain period of time. And it said, "And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword." All right? That's Edom. That's not, you see what I'm saying? That's Edom, clearly. All right? So let's get back to Genesis the 27th chapter.